pain of others by sharing it. See, and that is what I would wanted. I think he was going through that. And coming back, I think I mentioned this at the beginning itself. The feet is an important part of most of our cultures. We fall at others' feet and ask for forgiveness. We fall at others' feet and ask for blessing. So in this particular case, Ivan, although he on the strata of the house, he's the landlord, right? And he's just Gresham is just the serf, but then to his feet is on the guy who's going to actually bless him and absolve him from all his pain. That's how I took it.
Yes. Any more thoughts regarding Jerusalem? Okay, I will go to the next question. It is regarding the process of grief. Process of grief. Or in other words, the process of accepting death. It's also grief. So, according to the Swiss American psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, he said there are process. The finality of it, but they have gone through a process, sort of a process. Ivan Illich went to sort of process. The process is first denial, then anger, then beginning, then bargaining, then depressions, then acceptance. These 5 stages. If you can see from the book that he has gone through all these 5 stages,
Yes,
in a way, isn't it?
Yes.
So that is, at the finality of it was actually acceptance. That was when he saw. No, actually the finality of it is when he saw his wife, what he has done to his wife, what he has done to his daughter. Then he said, what have I done? So then that was the acceptance. So before that, there's the other emotionality. Some, like, first it was a denial. He denied his ailment, as you can know. Then after that, when he could not deny, he could not psychologically deny what has happened to him, he became angry. He became angry. In this way, in this narrative, he manifests the anger to the wife. Then the third stage is bargaining. He thought that if he, remember he said in the book that if he thought if he could eat the medicine diligently, he'll be okay. So that in a way that he is facing, he's trying to bargain with faith, with God, that if I do this for you, then you give me some prolonged life. I do this, so it's like a bargaining process. So that is also another process of facing death. Thereafter, came the process of depression and acceptance. Depression was when he felt in this, where he was on the deathbed. That was, in the book, in the first of the chapter, you can see how depressed he was. Then finally is the acceptance. These are these are actually process of grief, which means therefore it also is a process of how you approach that. It is very difficult to ascertain this step because who knows what process is. You can only ask a dead person to certify this process. But she has made extensive studies, thousands and thousands of terminally ill patients, and she derived a sort of formula, that these are 5 steps of death. So the final, I was talking about 5.
Yeah.
So, and all the steps is present in the book, and we already know. Tolstoy has made it clear. Okay. Now, I would like to touch on the last question because we are nearly at time's end here. The main theme of the novel is about death. But what does this novel teach us about the little time we have in life? What does it tell us? What did it tell us? how should this novel, how does it tells us of how we're going to spend our final days now that we have read this book? Bro? Anybody?
So
What does this book tells about life?
Yeah.
And the little time we have.
I mean, I think each of us has answered it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Answered
covered
what's
it in.
important to us so
Yes.
differently that I think maybe what the conclusion, like I thought everybody sees it the same way, but everybody sees it so differently that I guess it's really asking yourself as early on as you can. Like right now, we could ask ourselves, because like Aru said, we may not all be as lucky as Ivan is to have that time for reflection. So maybe we can reflect from now as to what would be a good life and a good death to us, and try to do that in the time we have, so that when you get to the end, you can say like her father, you know, that will be wonderful to die like that, where you can feel that you're quite comfortable and happy to go.
Any other thoughts? Or what? Actually, it makes us reflect, and Tolstoy wants us to reflect on this idea. The quality of life reflects the quality of our death.
And just to add on,
Yes.
and when I was reading this book, and I told myself, it's actually, we're reading this book at a time where we are going through lots of turbulence with COVID,
Covid, yes.
and this is the time where a lot of us are doing reflection on a different level, different time, and different perspective. So I think it was a good selection, yes.
No, we have pre-select it way before ni lah.
2020, right? 2020.
Yeah, but
COVID,
no,
2019.
we select because I think we just took the thinner one first, because we don't know where our ni will head because of the COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah,
This book was supposed to be discussed in 2020.
yeah.
Brought it
Yes.
forward.
You will.
It's
I'm so
interesting.
glad we did it. It's
Yes.
such a lovely book.
And it's a novella. Not to like novella. So,
No, because it's easier for people to
Yes.
read as well.
Yes.
You know, I mean, in the sense that it's not thick, but full of message, full of meaning.
Content.
Yeah, yeah,
Layers.
yeah, layers and layers, and you know.
Can I?
Yes.
Because this, I took this out from as I was trying to read this book. Death is nothing. You know, just a short paragraph. I just want to read to you. Interesting paragraph by guy Henry Scott. So he said, "Death is nothing at all. It does not count. I have only slipped away into the next room. Nothing has happened. Everything remains exactly as it was. I am I, and you are you, and the old life that we live so fondly together is untouched, unchanged. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by old familiar names, speak to me in an easy way which you always did. Put no difference into your tone. Wear no forced air of solemnity or sorrow. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed. Play, smile, think of me, pray of me. Let my number be every household word that it always will be. Let it be spoken without an effort, without the ghost of a shadow upon it. Life means all that it ever meant. It's the same as it ever was. Therefore, it is absolute and unbroken continuity. What is this death but a negligible accident? Why should I be out of your mind because I'm out of sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval. Somewhere very near, just around the corner, all is well." You know, so I thought it was a beautifully written. Not me, somebody else wrote it. You know.
Well, we clap hand because you actually share with us. Yeah, can you share with us in the group?
Sure. I can share with you.
Just
See, because I am privileged now to have more time than most of you. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I just don't read the book. I go and dig up here and there, and try to make it interesting. Sorry.
Share both. Share this and share yours. Share both.
Oh, you mean my poem as well? Okay,
Yeah.
no
It's
problem.
so lovely.
No problem.
you can share in the group so that we can all, you know.
I think Aru has sum up
Yes.
beautifully in the end of our discussion. Like I like to end on a note that Tolstoy says that what has this book in his book, he says that therefore, what shall our life will be after this? That's what he's telling us. How are we going to feel our life, our purpose? Maybe we don't have purpose, we have to find our purpose. That's a very existential way of looking at our life.
Amir, if you look at both those poems, they're basically talking about the connections you make
That's
with
right.
other people. That's all that is left in here.
That's right.
Yes.
It's connected. And if you want to follow Plato's discourse, he said that living, the only life worth living is a good life. It's a good life. That's it. And what is good life? Good life is, I mean, in negation. If you should negate the word good life is bad life, so we don't do bad life. So don't live a bad life. So Plato says that. So in a way, this story tells us how we're gonna feel our life fully, for the very little time we have, so that we will not go down destitute like Ivan Illich.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because most of us won't leave our names on a building or a road.
Yeah.
So the only place you live on is
Within
in
your
other
own self and
people's
your
hearts.
friends and family.
It is interesting. Somebody told me that even you aspire to leave a name on your building, the building will crumble.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
The building will crumble. Nothing that we can imagine is in itself immortal. We cannot, some businessman, CEO always say, I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave a legacy. I mean, like, it is a very short,
Yeah.
it's a very myopic view if you say that building is my legacy.
Right. He's gone.
See?
Very soon.
Legacy is something that has to live on in perpetuity. And that's not buildings. And that's not cars. That's not Proton Saga. That's not 1MDB, whatever. Or the Razak Tower. That's not legacy. That is not legacy. Legacy is something that, there's an explanation that if in order for something to be left in perpetuity, the environment which it stands on have to be in perpetuity. So that if what you build, that so-called legacy you build, destroy the environment, you will destroy your legacy too.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're right.
So buildings and stuff are not legacies.
So I mean, this book is Tolstoy's legacy.
Legacy is 70 years.
So many years.
So many years. This is one of it.
Yeah. So
Fact
he can say that he has left. I mean,
Fact
not that
that-
he.
Yeah. The reason that we are talking now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think his legacy is because he's touched people, isn't it?
Yes.
Connected with people.
Connected.
It's how
Yeah.
you benefit others as well. And if
Mm.
people talk about you, even the smallest thing that you do, 100 years or 50 years from
Yeah.
after you die, it's still a legacy.
So careful when you say you're leaving a legacy. Careful what you're leaving.
Yeah.
Legacy to me is my children.
Yeah.
To me, I have a very short view of life. I unfortunately, I have children. So therefore, I want to say unfortunately I have children. That's a bad way of saying. That's a bad way.
That's not Freudian slip.
We just finished doing the book.
But that's, my children is my legacy. I don't know. Yours might be different. See? Okay. With that, thank you.
No, sorry.
Okay,
What did
yeah.
he have actually, the guy? Even what kind of sickness did he have?
He was
They
never
say- I think cancer.
Cancer. That's what
Cancer.
he
It's
says.
not
When you do a
got to
research,
do
that
with
time
the-
they were. I don't think they knew about it as
Right.
much.
So it's got nothing to do with the
Most
curtain
likely,
and anything.
it's got nothing to do with him knocking against
Yeah,
the
yeah.
table.
No, okay. I thought so, but
On that note, I think we end this discussion. Thank you very much, Amir, for such a
Great.
lively.
As usual.
Yeah.
Worth the 2
Point,
hours
yeah.
of nap time.
Yes, and everybody participated. Yeah, I think all of us participated. Well, I think this is a really great book, and some announcement for next week. We have Clockwork
of Orange.
Whatever that one,
Orange.
Anthony Burgess, but that will start at 4:30 because I think we're going to have a buka puasa. So whoever who wants to participate in buka puasa, please let me know, because we're making arrangement with the restaurant. It's going to open soon. We are going to have ready at 4:30 next week with Jason.
Jason.
Okay.
He's another, yeah. So once again, thank you very much for your
Thank
attendance,
you.
and
Thank
thank
you
you so
for
much,
organizing it.
Amir, for such a great afternoon.
Thank
You're welcome.
Thank
Again,
you.
do you speak Russian?